If you're one of the 20 million people who have watched an NFL game this season, you might have noticed something new on the players' heads.
They're called guardian caps, and this is actually the first season that players are even allowed to wear them. They're basically these like soft-shelled pads that players wear on top of their helmets that help reduce the risk of concussions.
Yeah, they kind of look like a little cushion or something just sitting on top of their helmet. And according to NFL research, guardian caps lower the blow to the head by 10 to 15%, or 20% if both players are wearing them. So it does a lot. And they're now required for all players to wear during practice, unless you wear a specialty helmet or something.
The NFL has said that guardian caps have been a big reason that this preseason has resulted in the lowest number of concussions in a decade.
Wow.
Which is amazing since everyone knows concussions are pretty intense. And if you don't know, concussions are basically a type of brain injury that occurs when your brain is forced to move or bounce around inside of your head. And if they're really severe, they kind of hit the skull wall.
My mom would always say it's like when our brains shake like Jell-O.
Ew, Wren.
Sorry.
The big question is, why have only 10 players decided to wear these safer guardian caps this season?
Well, it might be because they've already caused a bit of controversy in the football world, surprisingly because of what they look like.
Looks so ugly on top of people. I wear a guardian cap in practice every day. But like in a game with the big ass guardian caps.
Did you wear a guardian cap?
No.
Why not?
I just think it looks stupid and you look soft as hell. Every person I see wearing that thing, I'll be like...
I mean, if you want to wear it, feel free to wear it. I mean, if it makes you feel safer, would I wear it personally? No. But
it's just because, again, I don't like the way these things look.
It looks dumb.
It does look dumb.
Yeah, isn't there a way they can design this so it doesn't look like that?
Yeah.
So I didn't realize looks are so important in football, or that people are so attached to the appearance of the helmets.
I guess like football very much represents like quintessential American cool, and it's just so ingrained in our culture that people don't want anything to like lamify it.
Well, even the makers of guardian caps admit they look goofy, but they ask, isn't safety more important? So the caps work by absorbing and redirecting the force of a blow because they move independently of the helmet.
They're also pretty light. They're made of foam and weigh less than half a pound, and are worn by over 300,000 players across youth, high school, college football, and hockey.
And brain injuries have forever been a source of backlash for the NFL. Just last season alone, NFL players suffered 219 concussions.
Which is a lot since there's only 272 football games this season.
Oh my God, that's almost like one a game. So how many concussions is too many for one player to have?
So doctors do say that 3 concussions in a lifetime is when things kind of get scary, and that number or higher is linked to worsening brain function later in life.
Well, that's why people are asking this question a lot lately, because Tua Tagovailoa just returned to gameplay after at least his 3rd concussion.
Yeah, he's a big deal quarterback, plays on the Miami Dolphins, was the number 5 draft pick of his year, and he's only 26, but this summer signed a 4-year, $212.4 million contract extension.
That is so crazy. That's like $53 million a year.
Apparently, that's the second largest 4-year contract in NFL history. But week 2 of this NFL season, he got his 3rd diagnosed concussion in 2 years.
We're not going to show the clip because it's too gruesome to watch. And it happened because Tua ran into Damar Hamlin, who we all remember is the Buffalo Bills player whose heart stopped on the field 2 years ago. And Tua displayed an obvious concussion symptom immediately after this hit. His arm went into the fencing position, which is a neck reflex that happens when the blow impacts the brainstem.
That's literally horrifying. And I mean, it makes sense why there's been so much pressure from fans and pundits alike for him to retire.
I'll be honest, I'll just tell him to retire. It's not worth it. It's not worth to play the game. You can see the sense of urgency from everybody to get Tua help. I just think at some point, he's going to live longer and he's going to play football.
Shannon Sharp was on social media yesterday tweeting this, really hope Tua is okay, but he's got to seriously think about shutting it down. I hate saying this. His concussions are getting worse and worse, and he's a young man with his entire life ahead of him. I couldn't agree more.
Tua consider retiring? Yes. Every talk show in America or sports show is saying, yes, he should retire. Rightfully so, right?
Tua recently married, has a son now. What the general thought is that it's time for Tua. The time has come where it's no longer important to think about the Miami Dolphins.
And the reason people are so worried and concerned is that this injury is on top of his back-to-back severe concussions in 2022.
Yeah, in week 3 of the 2022 season, Tua took a hit to the head and he appeared disoriented, and he actually stumbled on his way to the huddle after the play. So they took him into the back to the locker room to do a medical evaluation, and he was actually cleared to play, and he went out and finished the game.
And then just 4 days later, he was playing a game and knocked his head so hard on the turf that he fell unconscious and was rushed to the local hospital and later diagnosed with a concussion.
So then looking back at that first blow that happened, the prior game, the NFL realized it probably made a mistake by allowing him to finish the game, and it actually updated its concussion guidelines to include balance and stability issues as a symptom that requires immediate removal from gameplay.
But even after all of this, he went through the NFL's concussion recovery and was cleared to play after just a couple weeks. And then on Christmas Day 2022, he suffered yet another concussion less than 3 months after the last one. And after that, he missed the rest of that season.
So those, plus the one this season, make him the only quarterback to enter the concussion protocol 3 separate times. And people speculate he likely had 4 concussions, including the possibly undiagnosed first one. So you can understand why people are so worried about him.
But even so, he did ultimately decide to come back and play.
I appreciate your concern. I really do. I love this game, and I love it to the death of me. That's it.
Yeah, October 27th, just 6 weeks after his last concussion, he returned to the field.
Which means he completed the NFL's 5 phases of concussion protocol that every player has to go through to be able to get cleared and play.
The phases slowly reintroduce movement under medical supervision, so you have to get cleared to go to a higher intensity level of weights or aerobics or cardio. Until then, you're cleared to go to practice. Until then, you're cleared to play games again.
And to get to phase 5, which is full football activity, full clearance, you can play on the games again, Tua had to be seen by an independent neurological expert. So this person didn't work for the NFL, didn't work for the Dolphins. And to be fair to Tua, neither this expert nor any other doctor he saw said that he needed to retire from football.
And of course, everyone wondered, would Tua wear a guardian cap when he comes back to protect his head more? But he made it abundantly clear he would not do that.
Would you wear a guardian cap?
Nope.
Why?
Personal choice.
Tua does, however, wear a Visus helmet, which is considered the safest helmet for quarterbacks to wear. And it's pretty cool. Inside the helmet, the pads are custom 3D printed to fit the shape of a player's head.
And it's also quarterback specific, so it has extra padding in the areas that quarterbacks usually need it. And all of the big quarterbacks wear this, like Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson. And of course, he could wear a guardian cap over this super special safe helmet, but it just doesn't seem like the NFL is quite ready for that. Actually, the New York Times did a poll of players, like thumbs up or thumbs down to guardian caps, and the result was 60% thumbs down.
Oh, okay. To add to that, Minnesota Vikings linebacker Jonathan Grenard posted "ew" on social media in response to a picture of Colts players wearing caps.
Jeez. It's clear people are still really warming to the idea of prioritizing safety, I guess. But as Kylan Granson, who has really been an advocate for guardian caps, has pointed out, at first people thought seatbelts were dumb, but now you can't even imagine a car without one.
There's no amount of aesthetic that could outweigh what a TBI could do to you. I want to inspire kids to think that health and safety is also cool. Anything I can do to mitigate any sort of brain injury or long-term health effects that would be detrimental to me takes precedent.
And of course, no guardian cap or 3D printed helmet can completely reduce the possibility of getting a concussion, but the NFL has said that these safer helmets have helped a lot, and that Visus and these companies have eliminated 20 to 25 NFL concussions a year over the last 7 seasons, which is cool.
Wow.
So it's become clear that the NFL has, like you said, started prioritizing player safety.
Well, that's actually how guardian caps came to be. They won an NFL-sponsored research competition for protective equipment called the Head Health Tech Challenge, and from that they received $20,000 to fund biomechanical testing for their guardian caps. But now I want to get into what I think is the heart of the issue, which is that Tua and all of these players feel pretty invincible right now at their peak strength and athleticism. But what about 30 years down the line or 40 years down the line when they start to feel the effects on their brain?
That's where we get into CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And that's kind of what all of these players fear the most, and what hopefully all of this innovative safety helps prevent. CTE is caused by repeated head injuries. So it actually shows up later in life. And it's essentially the abnormal buildup and spread of this protein called tau that strangles and kills your nerve cells. So it slowly impairs your cognitive function and leads to memory loss, depression, aggressive behavior, and suicidal thoughts. And it's a progressive disease, so it gets worse with age, and there's no cure, and it can't even be diagnosed until after death.
Well, in a recent survey, 1/3 of former professional football players believe they have CTE. I guess they've started to feel the symptoms of it. And 25% of those people reported having suicidal ideation in the last 2 weeks.
And that's a lot. Like, that's truly so prevalent in the sport in a way that's like really scary. But last month, a senior league official in the NFL, for the first time in NFL history, admitted to the fact that there's an association between football and CTE. So even though it should have been said a long time ago, things are slowly changing.
That's kind of like talk about the last to know. But progress is being made. They've hired head injury spotters to sit in the press boxes of all the games. They also have neurotrauma specialists on the sidelines and neurocognitive experts in the locker rooms. But I guess what still worries me is that a lot of these things are treatment after the fact, and there's still not a lot of emphasis being put on prevention of head injuries.
Yeah, like medically acknowledging that something is happening isn't the same as stopping it from happening in the first place. But I guess these caps and advanced helmets and even like acknowledgements are a small step in the right direction. And hopefully we can get to a place where people can love the sport and it doesn't have to potentially ruin your brain and your body.